Welcome to the podcast, Nashira. So nice to see you in person with you and your adorable glasses over there.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me here.
Of course. You are an expert in talking about burnout. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on the podcast because so many of us are experiencing burnout now that we're going back into the workplace or, COVID is maybe coming up again and we're like feeling, oh, geez, what's life going to be like? Burnout is a legit thing, particularly for us therapists. So we're very on the pulse of it. So tell us a little bit about what causes burnout in your perspective.
In my perspective, burnout is caused by a few factors. One, obviously, overworking or doing a lot of work, high caseloads, high output, right? But I think the other piece of it is that we're not also, providing a self-care to ourselves. We're not giving ourselves time to regroup and regenerate and, be able to kind of continue putting out that energy. So I think it's kind of twofold of kind of taking on too much, but also not taking on enough of the right things that help us keep going.
So, what you're kind of saying, I think, is that we're not prioritizing our self care and we keep kind of like putting other things in front of it, especially in relationships or with our children or with our demanding jobs. It's like, well, I'll get to that. Like, this feels more important because it's going to help me get a promotion or it's going to make me feel like I'm a good parent because I'm prioritizing my kids or I'm making sure that my partner feels like they're getting enough of my time and attention. I'll figure that out later and I keep just like shoving it off and then I'm not ever getting around to it and then I get burned out.
Absolutely. I think
Okay.
burnout to me means back burner, right? And a lot of times it's us that we put on the back burner, the things that help us keep going to be able to meet all the demands that we have.
Okay, so now that we know what causes it, how do we know that we're in it? What would be going on? What are the signs and symptoms that I'm in burnout?
I think we start to get some of those typical kind of anxiety symptoms, either feeling anxious, feeling nervous. I think an often overlooked one is sleeping, changes in sleep, either feeling tired after we've had enough hours of sleep, or maybe not being able to have enough hours of sleep, or difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. I think that those are usually really good cues that, we're having some anxiety. I think it's that overall feeling of inability to kind of like calm down, kind of that calm and peace that we feel. We may just feel overwhelmed, just feeling like you have a lot of thoughts going on and things to do, and you're unable to focus, inability to pay attention to, different tasks or things that you have to do because you're just, thinking about so many things that you have to do, or your attention is kind of split in multiple areas and things like that.
It sounds
I
like it
think
could.
it can be.
Oh, sorry. It sounds like it could be hard to know if you're suffering just from burnout because there could be overlap from co-occurring mental health issues like anxiety or depression or, gosh, hormones, right?
Yes, exactly. Right. It could be so many things. I think what's important, though, is that we kind of recognize those different signs and then we can figure out exactly where it's coming from or what to attribute it to and then go from there. I think you mentioned it. So changes in mood, I think, are a big thing, either feelings of sadness, feelings of even anger, or just being irritable, as well as, maybe different like biological symptoms, along with the sleep. So maybe changes in appetite, things along those lines.
So you're sort of storing things up, and because you've put it on the back burner, as you so eloquently gave us that visual for, then it's coming out in other areas because the body isn't going to distribute anything if you keep tucking it down. It's going to come out in weird ways that you don't anticipate, like with your sleep or with your eating or with just your ability to regulate yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Okay, so I know what my symptoms might be. Are there red flags that I should know might show me that I'm getting close to getting burned out? Like, is there like a, hello, it's happening. If you don't pay attention to it, I'm going to be what you just talked about?
I think it's important for us to try to kind of know ourselves. I think that's a key piece too, right? So while there's all these different symptoms, you may be more likely to, kind of go down the road of one symptom. So maybe your appetite stays fine, but maybe you have the sleep, or maybe those things stay fine, but you feel like you have different moods than what you usually do. So I think some kind of red flags, I think the most significant ones are probably the sleep, the mood, and probably appetite, I think. I think when we start seeing those for sure kind of distinct changes, then that can be a clue that, hey, we need to pay attention. I think also our, friends, family, coworkers, other people, sometimes other people observe it before we do, right? Our partners or spouses, they observe it before we do. So I think even other people, kind of noticing, making comments, you seem different, what's going on, you have a different mood lately, or I've noticed you've been doing things differently, or you just seem different. I think those are important clues too.
You just led to a really important question that I wanted to ask you about, which is, yeah, most of us are in relationship and we do notice that our partner is having some changes, and maybe we're putting the connection together that like, gosh, you've been working a lot more, or you've been taking care of an elderly parent more, and that you seem like you're off. I think some of us are worried if it's okay to say something and how would we say it, which is kind of what you're alluding to, that if you see something, say something.
Yes.
How do you do it in a delicate way so that your partner doesn't hear it as a criticism?
I think taking a kind of like caring approach, an inquisitive approach, hey, I'm just asking, I'm just wondering, to where, you're not really accusing or telling someone how they feel, but you're giving them the space to, communicate and verbalize with you what they're thinking or feeling at the time. I think that's always important to just, to provide that space and opportunity, whether it's accepted or not. I think, in any relationship, that's important. So I think, coming just from an inquisitive, hey, I'm just asking questions, no judgment, I'm just wondering. I think that's always a great approach. And then the second piece of it, how can I help? What can I do? Or even, can you explain it to me so I know what to do, or, how I should react, or, kind of making it, using those I statements and kind of, putting some of the focus on you of, you just want to know how you should handle the situation. And I think normalizing it, of course, anytime we even start touching into any mental health or, anything like that, either we don't recognize it at all, or, we want to kind of add these negative connotations to it. So, making it that it's just an ongoing part of, checking in with your partner, just like you would about bills or kids or, work, the same as you would check into those things, just checking on how we're doing. So I think even before these things arise, kind of setting the stage and the platform for, we communicate about these things too.
Perfect, because I think what you're saying is something that we as therapists that work with couples would sort of, along what you said, is, hey, I'm not telling you why you feel, or I'm not judging you for taking on too much stuff. I'm not criticizing you. Here's a behavior that I saw that makes me worry if something's happening for you that maybe you're not letting yourself see, or it feels like you're being a burden to others, or it's your responsibility to like do more and be more. And I just want to let you know that I think you're great the way that you are. And I've noticed that these extra things you've taken on seem to be having an impact on you, and I'm here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Couldn't have been said
Anything else is going to
better.
get you in trouble. So just tread lightly.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that kind of leads to this idea that, many of us are in a relationship with someone who's successful, and this is part and parcel of being a successful person. And I know you write about that a lot. So I also kind of want to talk about, do you think that there's a pattern of successful people not acknowledging these burnout symptoms and just being like, must power through? Like, is that a thing?
Absolutely. I think it's absolutely a thing. And I think, we live in a society and culture that preaches hard work, right? And in many ways, you're rewarded for it, especially if you are a successful person. It could probably easily been concluded that this behavior has been beneficial to you in some way or another. And therefore, it's going to be even harder to notice it as a not good thing, or to even want to change it, because, you're more likely to say, hey, I've gotten this far, operating like this. So I probably should continue operating like this because that's how I've gotten here. So I think definitely, people that have found success are more likely to endure burnout just because it's been successful, right? If it wasn't, we probably would have stopped doing it a long time ago. But, it's promoted, it's rewarded, and, makes it less likely that you're going to see it as a problem.
And it seems like it's a cultural value that if somebody says to me, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, let's get coffee. I'm like, oh, so busy. Maybe 3 weeks from now on a Friday at 10, right?
Right.
And that gives us more like street cred because it must mean that we're successful, instead of a reframe as we therapists do, which is like, girl, you might have too much stuff going on because you don't have time for your
Yes.
personal life.
Absolutely, right. And, as professionals, we would promote that balance. Hey, you need balance. You have to tend to different aspects of yourself. How are you attending to this part of you? That type of thing. And, we're great at doing that for other people, right? I know even myself, I'm excellent at doing that for other people. Myself, not always so much.
Yeah. We therapists are not perfect just because we tell other people how to get better. So you wrote a quote that I want to read because it really resonated with me, and it kind of led into some affirmations that you put together. So you said this, and I think it's amazing. You said, I wish I had the mind frame earlier on to not believe I needed to struggle in order to succeed. I learned to always bet on you. Do the work, handle your business, but always bet on you. Don't think for 1 second somebody else is smarter than you or richer than you or has something you don't, because it's not true. Everyone is faking it until they make it. And even a lot of people that you think have made it are just faking it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, fake it till you make it, right? Which, we use that in therapy a lot, right? Fake it until it's true. Believe it until it's true. But I've definitely, in my experience, have noticed, especially with women and, people that identify as women, we tend to kind of be harder on ourselves. We somehow believe that everyone else is doing something better than we are, or, more extravagant, or somehow just, more successful in some way or another, whether it's being a partner or a spouse or being a mom or being a professional out in the world. We just assume and believe that other people, are somehow managing everything so much better than we are. But I think, when we really get down to it, that's not the truth. We're all, living this human experience. We're all trying to figure it out. Some of us have figured out some areas better than others, or, we're on different journeys to figuring it out, different roads. But, no one has it all figured out. No one has it all together or all perfect. And I think allowing ourselves, just to be human and not perfect is, a lot. And having that faith in yourself and self-confidence just alone, I think, can take you a long way.
I think as I was reading this, I really did see a correlation to something that I think contributes to burnout, right? If I'm living my life as if I'm not enough, I gotta hustle more. I gotta be like my friend on Facebook. I have to be the best mom, the best business owner. I gotta look hot all the time. So that means I gotta work out like a freak. I have to like do
Yes.
all these things. Like just that pace of expectation that I put on myself is creating burnout.
Yes, exactly. I think a lot of burnout and our own kind of expectations, obviously they come from society, our family, our friends. There's always, tons of different influences that kind of impact the way we think and feel about ourselves. But a lot of times, we're kind of putting that undue pressure on ourselves too, right? I know even at least many times the things that we think others expect from us, they never actually said that they expect that from us or want that from us, but somewhere along the line, we've, grown to attribute these things to ourselves, making life much harder, unnecessarily at times. And, I think being okay with, the idea that it's okay to relax. It's okay to not struggle. It's okay to take time for myself. It's okay to say, that's nice, but I can't do it. Or, I don't want to do it. So I think those are big.
You wrote an affirmation that I have printed up, and I think I'm going to put it on the wall in my bathroom because that's where I put all my good affirmations. So you're going to be on the wall in my bathroom. And you wrote, I deserve a soft life, and I have everything I need to succeed. Hello. That's
Yeah.
fantastic, right? Tell me about where did you get
Right.
this idea to write an affirmation, I deserve a soft life? Because that's brilliant.
I think for myself, personally, so I come from a family where I'm was the first to, go right out of high school and into college and then grad school and just having all these different expectations. And I'm 38 now, but I think it probably took me a good 30 years before it was kind of like, well, why? Like why work this hard? Why do all of this? And, is it going to make me happy? Or, a lot of things we do and feel, is it even that impactful, as we think it is? Is it worth the amount of energy, effort, burnout, whatever it is you're going to endure? Is what you're going to get, or is the result even ultimately worth it? And maybe it is, but I know for me personally, it was so far into my life before I even questioned it. Um, and I'm like, geez, I probably could have avoided, some things in life by just not feeling like I had to do them, or being under the impression that life is hard, every day is hard, why? Like, where did we get this from? And who said that it had to be like that? And ultimately, is this healthy? Because you can achieve everything under the sun, but if, it's contributing to burnout or just feeling unhealthy physically or mentally, what have you truly gained? So I think kind of prioritizing, those other things that may not be always extremely tangible, just yeah, that was my thought, was just, who said it had to be hard? And, why are we going with this? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think somebody listening today is actually going to need to hear that. I'm sure that there's many people that are on the edge of burnout that hopefully stumbled upon this and they're like, thank you for the reminder that it's okay for me to want a soft life. Doesn't mean I
Yes,
don't care
absolutely.
about my success. It doesn't mean I don't want the best of my life. It just means I don't want to feel like I'm on the edge of burnout in order to achieve it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So tell us about your book. If people want to know more of your tips and tricks about how to like get through life, where can they find you and tell us about it?
Yes. So the best place to find all of my products are either Amazon has several of my books. You could find them looking at my name, Nashira Kayode. And also on my website, which is Dr. Shy K. So Shikay. Everything's on my website, and links to Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all those wonderful things as well.
Which is your Instagram is super fun. So that's how I discovered you. So if you haven't checked her out, go check out her Instagram because it's very inspirational and you just are super cool. So I'm
Thank
really,
you.
really grateful that you were willing to come spend some time with us. Very invaluable tips and very timely. So thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me. Had a wonderful time, and hopefully, this helps some people. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Thanks for tuning into the D Spot. Find me, Dr. Dana McNeil, and my guests on social media using the links down below. Subscribe for new episodes weekly and leave a comment letting us know how and if you can relate or what topics you'd like us to cover next. See you next time, and don't forget, going to therapy is cool.